As you may have also seen, leading figures, doctors, some UN experts, and many others have started a campaign on social media with the slogans "Free Dr. Hussam Abu Safia," the director of the Kamal Adwan Hospital, and also "End Genocide in Gaza." We have been formally informed by you that the Kamal Adwan was the last functioning hospital in Gaza before being destroyed by Israel. So I would like to also know if the UN also has a call to Israel regarding the release of the hospital director, and in general, do you think that the destruction of hospitals in Gaza should be investigated as war crimes? Thank you.
Well, on that, Sharife, the Security Council will actually hear a briefing from the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, tomorrow. So we'll have some more details about the situation there. Obviously, we have concerns about the rest of hospital personnel. We want hospitals to be off limits. Beyond that, the World Health Organization has made it clear that so far there's a large need for people to be medically evacuated from hospitals, including from Kamal Adwan, with the World Health Organization today saying that there's over 12,000 people in Gaza who still need medical evacuations. So there's a lot of hospital needs. We do continue to call on all sides to keep hospitals out of harm's way, which means not placing or trying to infiltrate the hospitals, but also not attacking them. And we want to make sure that all steps are taken to protect and preserve the lives of the injured and sick who are in those hospitals. Benny.
According to COGAT, you know who they are, there are currently approximately 800 trucks worth of aid waiting to be collected from the Gazan side of the Kerem Shalom crossing.
Can you please use your mic?
Sorry.
Sorry.
According to COGAT, there are currently approximately 800 trucks worth of aid waiting to be collected from the Gazan side of the Kerem Shalom crossing. Aid enters Gaza consistently with no limits on the amounts. It is entirely dependent on the capacity of the UN aid organizations to collect and distribute the aid from Kerem Shalom crossing. Other organizations collect and distribute aid constantly, so should and could the UN aid organizations. It's an ongoing, obviously, dispute, but how do you address those allegations?
I address it the same way that we've been doing in recent weeks by pointing out the huge amount of anarchy, basically, at crossings like Kerem Shalom, where there's a lack of safety for drivers, a lack of safety in terms of goods being looted. We've reported on lootings and shootings and insecurity in Kerem Shalom many times. And as I just pointed out, part of what we're trying to do is to get more access for our personnel so that we can safely move aid. But certainly, as we have made clear from this podium many times in these months, getting aid in doesn't simply mean dumping them off at a point, but ensuring that they can get there safely. We want there to be sufficient security. We're working with the Israeli authorities, with the Palestinians on the ground to try to get sufficient security so that we can move aid to the people who need it.
Follow up on that. So Ambassador Danny Danon has an op-ed today basically saying that UNRWA is not acceptable to Israel, that other UN agencies should be in charge of distribution of aid in Gaza. Any thought on that?
Just to repeat what the Secretary General and officials throughout the system have made clear, that the UN Relief and Works Agency is the backbone of our humanitarian operations in Gaza and in the occupied Palestinian territory. We depend on them in a way that no other organization can possibly replace at this stage in terms of having the people on hand, the access to people on the ground, the ability to deliver. So right now we need to make sure that UNRWA's work on the ground is supported and supported by all sides. Yes, Abdul Hamid.
Thank you, Farhan. I have been following the noon briefing, and atrocities being committed in Gaza day in and day out, as you all know, including the destruction of Kamal Adwan Hospital, I haven't seen a strong statement coming from the Office of the Spokesperson about the destruction of Kamal Adwan Hospital and the kidnapping or the disappearance of Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. Can you explain that?
I just talked about our concerns about the hospital.
You just talked about it.
I just did, and you know, you and I can differ about the strength of what I say, but it's very clear that we want all hospitals to be off limits from all parties, so that they can be used in the way that they're intended, which is for securing the lives of innocent people. The attack on Kamal Adwan, to be very clear, has created a situation where there's no functioning hospitals for a huge swath of northern Gaza, and ultimately, that's not acceptable. People need to have their medical needs handled at this time of combat and this time of chaos.
Can I just follow up?
Yes. You have one follow up, and then we go to Joe. Yeah.
Okay. You just talked about it. I mean, the destruction and the burning of the hospital didn't happen 1 hour ago or today. Do you think the timing of the statement matters or it doesn't matter? Why you mean late until you ask the question and you answer?
We have made innumerable statements about the situation in Gaza for the past 14 months, and we are continuing to speak out about the situation, and we'll continue to speak out as circumstances merit. Yes.
During the 90-day period leading up to the implementation of Israel's UNRWA legislation, have any senior UN officials, and I mean specifically relating to UNRWA, have had dialogue with senior Israeli officials about Israel's proposals for possible alternative mechanisms to UNRWA, or is the UN not open to even such discussions?
We have been discussing the situation on the ground, including the humanitarian situation, from the Secretary General through to our humanitarian officials, through to officials like Sigrid Kaag. But one of the messages that all of us have made clear, as I just restated now, is that we do not believe that there is an alternative to UNRWA in terms of the capacity to assist the people of Gaza. Deji?
Several questions. First, tomorrow, Security Council will have an emergency session on the Kamal Adwan Hospital. Who would be the briefer from the Secretariat?
Volker Turk.
He will be here or via...
I believe it's by video.
Okay, so secondly, just now, Joe actually asked my question on UNRWA. We know that the two bills will take into effect, I think, late January. So is there any new measures that UNRWA in Israel and occupied Palestine taken to deal with the coming bills?
Oh, we are doing.
Or you just wait there and until that.
We are doing what we can, but right now we're going about our work, and there's certain work that is essential for the lives of the people on the ground, and so we're going to continue to do that.
I mean, for the operation of UNRWA, does the UN high-level official have any contact with Israeli authority to discuss about how this would work?
Yes.
After the bills?
Yeah.
Any idea?
We have been discussing UNRWA's work since the bills, including through the Commissioner General of UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, and we will continue to do what we can to continue UNRWA's work.
So far, do you see a way out?
What?
Do you see a way to, let's say, minimize the impact of the two bills?
The only thing I can say is whenever there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
From our standpoint, there's no alternative to the work that's being done right now.
Okay.
Gabriel.
Thank you, Farhan. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
The Secretary General has spoken out many times about the freedom of the press, particularly in the last year or more. Does the Secretary General condemn the Palestinian Authority's closures of the Al Jazeera offices in the West Bank?
We certainly want Al Jazeera, as well as all media outlets in the West Bank, to be able to go about their work without hindrance and without obstruction.
Does he call for the Palestinian Authority to reverse course?
We want to make sure that any restrictions that impede the work of journalists are lifted, yes.